For today's video, we will talk about solving quadratic equations using quadratic formula. So the standard form of quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a is not equal to 0. So the formula for the quadratic equation is x is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Here are the steps in solving the quadratic equation using quadratic formula. First, you need to write the given quadratic equation in standard form and identify the values of a, b, and c. The next step is to write the quadratic formula and substitute the values of a, b, and c. Step 3, you need to simplify and solve for the values of x. And for step 4, you need to check the solution by substituting the values of x to the original equation. So for you to understand what it means, let's have examples. The first example is x squared minus 6x plus 5 equals 0. Step 1, since it is already in standard form, okay, so that's for step 1, you just need to copy. And in this equation, the value of a is 1 since in x squared, we have numerical coefficient which is 1 here. So, the value of a is 1, the value of b is negative 6, and the value of 5 is equal to and the value of c is equal to 5. Step 2, you need to write the quadratic formula and substitute the values of a, b, and c to the quadratic formula. So we have here negative b, so negative of negative 6 plus minus square root of negative b squared, or b squared, which is negative 6 squared, minus 4 times a, which is to step 3, that is to simplify and solve. So we have here negative of negative 6 is positive 6 plus minus negative 6 quantity squared is equal to 36, and 4 times 1 times 5 is equal to 20, so that is minus 20 all over 2 times 1 is 2. So we now have 6 plus minus the square root of 36 minus 20 is equal to the square root of 16. So all over 2. And let's separate this expression. So our x sub 1 is equal to 6 plus the square root of 16 all over 2. And our x sub 2 is equal to 6 minus square root of 16 over 2. So for our x sub 1, we have 6 plus square root of 16, so the square root of 16 is equal to 4. So we have 6 plus 4 all over 2, that is equal to 5. And for our x sub 2, we have 6 minus the square root of 16, which is 4 all over 2, so that is 2 over 2 is equal to 1. To check if our values are correct, so let's substitute the values to the given equation. So first our x sub 1 and for our x sub 2. For x sub 1 we have 5 squared minus 6 times 5 plus 5 is equal to 0. And for our x sub 2 we have 1 squared minus 6 times 1 plus 5 equals 0. So simplifying, we have 5 squared equals 25 minus 6 times 5 is 30 plus 5 equals 0. And for here in x sub 2, 1 squared is equal to 1 minus 6 times 1 equals 6 plus 5 equals 0. So 25 minus 30 plus 5 is equal to 0, and 1 minus 6 plus 5 is equal to 0. So that means that the values of our x are x equals 5 and x equals 1. So that is how you solve the quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. We have here another example. We have 2x squared plus 8x is equal to 3. Step 1, we need to write it in standard form. So, we will apply the addition property of equality. We have 2x squared plus 8x minus 3 is equal to 3 minus 3. So what we did is we subtracted the 3 from both sides. So now we have 2x squared plus 8x minus 3 equals 0. That is the standard form of our quadratic equation. Then, we need to identify the values of a, b, and c. So in here, the value of our a is equal to 2, the value of b is equal to 8, and the value of c is equal to negative 3. Next, for step 2, we need to write the quadratic formula and substitute the values. So we have our negative b, we have negative 8 plus minus the square root of b squared, so we have 8 squared minus 4 times the value of a, which is 2, times the value of c, which is negative 3, all over 2 times the value of a, which is positive 2. Now let's proceed to step 3. So we will simplify our equation. So we have negative 8 plus minus 8 squared is equal to 64 plus negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 times negative 3 is positive 24. That is why we have positive 24 here, or plus 24, all over 2 times 2, which is 4. So we have x is equal to negative 8 plus minus the square root of 88, since 64 plus 24 is equal to 88, all over 4. Next, we need to separate it. So we have our x sub 1 equals negative 8 plus square root of 88 all over 4, and our x sub 2 is negative 8 minus square root of 88 over 4. Simplifying it, we have our x sub 1 equals negative 8 plus 2 square root of 22 over 4, and our x sub 2 is equal to negative 8 plus 2 square root of 22 over 4. So we have here 2 square root of 22, since in 88 we have 4 times 22. So the square root of 4 is 2, that is why we put 2 outside the radical sign. So we have 2 square root of 22. Then, simplifying it again, our x sub 1 is equal to negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2, and our x sub 2 is equal to negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2. What we did is, we divided negative 8 by 4, so we have negative 4, and 2 divided by 4 is 1/2. That is why we have 2 in the denominator. Same here in x sub 2. Next, for step 4, we need to check if our values are correct. So, we substitute the values of our x sub 1 and x sub 2 in our original equation. So, we have 2 times the quantity of negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 squared plus 8 times the quantity of negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 is equal to 3. And in our x sub 2, we have 2 times the quantity of negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 squared plus 8 times the quantity of negative 4 plus 22, or 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 is equal to 3. Then we have 2 times, so negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 squared is equal to 19 minus 4 square root of 22 over 2. Plus 8 times the quantity of negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 is equal to 3. And in our x sub 2 we have negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 squared is equal to 19 plus 4 square root of 2 over 2, or square root of 22 over 2. Plus 8 times the quantity of negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2 is equal to 3. Then we have, so we can apply the cancellation law here in 2 and 2. So we have 19 minus 4 square root of 22 minus, the same here, in 8 and 2 we can cancel. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 4 times negative 4 is 16 plus 4 square root of 22 over 3. Then in our x sub 2 we also cancel 2, then we have 19 plus 4 square root of 22 minus 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we have 4 times negative 4 is 16, and 4 times negative square root of 22 is negative 4 square root of 22 equals 3. So the answer is 3 equals 3 in x sub 1 and same in x sub 2. That means that the values of x that we found are correct. So that is x sub 1 is equal to negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2, and x sub 2 is negative 4 plus square root of 22 over 2. And that's how you solve the quadratic equation using the quadratic formula.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.